Some Madison County residents say county officials are ignoring their problems created by last Wednesday's tornado. Commissioners agree county crews were concentrating their efforts with city workers to clear the debris at the Airport Road area. And only today did District 1 crews start picking up debris in rural areas. Commissioner Tillman Hill says it's just been a matter of priorities.
I think surely that the chance that you might find a survivor is much more important than only just hauling rubbish off.
Commissioner Hill adds that part of the delay was due to requests by utility crews waiting or wanting to restore service before cleanup efforts began.
While cleanup crews continue to work in our area, debris from Wednesday's tornado is littered all over North Alabama. In the Paint Rock Valley area, 45 miles east of Huntsville, residents are picking up bits and pieces. Most of the larger pieces of debris were removed last week. Now residents are just finding small scraps, including some remains from Jones Valley Elementary. The memories are the same, only the building has changed. Today it was back to school for those 450 Jones Valley students. Wednesday's killer tornado demolished the school, leaving behind a gigantic pile of rubble. So today the youngsters were transferred to Challenger, where they'll finish out the school year. Amy Whitty reports.
Early this morning, the buses rolled into Challenger, carrying Jones Valley Elementary students. The students were quickly greeted by hugs from the school principal.
Good morning. How are you? Good to see you.
Then it was off to their new classrooms, where every child had a story to tell about the tornado.
The roof was gone, and what took the roof off my sister's room was the chimney from my sister's room. Dad said to get in the basement. But I was just so frantic, I just couldn't move. And my mom went outside and she heard this train sound.
To help teachers and students cope with the grade loss, counselors will be in the building for the next few days.
Teachers are doing a great job today. They're encouraging the kids to talk about it. They're having them draw about it. It's just like with us as adults. We need to talk about it, and as we talk more about it, we can start to let go of it.
How many of you feel that you might be a little more prone to take fire drill seriously from now on and leave in an orderly way? You can see how important it is, can't you? No?
Hopefully this is one lesson students will never again have to use. In Huntsville, Amy Whitty, 31 Eyewitness News.
Well, school kids aren't the only ones trying to start over today. Many of the small businesses in the village on Whitesburg plan to reopen over the next 2 days. While Winn-Dixie will remain closed for at least 6 weeks, the other shops in the mall want the public to know they're reopening and had already stocked up for the Christmas holidays. Well, doctors displaced by the tornado were reopening their practices today. The twister did extensive damage to several medical offices on Airport Road. Crestwood Hospital is helping many doctors relocate. Today, workers are setting up temporary housing for physicians on the hospital campus. The hospital hopes things will get close to normal soon.
Records were not damaged. Some of them were wet, but most of the records, according to the physicians I've talked to, have been retrieved. We have them stored in the hospital and in some of these storage trailers.
Well, as these medical professionals put their lives and practices back together, a colleague attempts to put his life in order.
This medical professional spent last Wednesday helping those in need, but as Linda Allen reports, while he was doing that, his own family had become victims of the tragedy.
It was perhaps the most difficult time I have ever had to wait for news that I can recall. That thought was constantly lingering in the back of my mind. I know where everybody else is. I don't know where Louise McCord is. Not having that answer.
The answer soon came. 61-year-old Louise McCord was dead, one of the tornado's 18 victims. McCord helped open the Airport Road Goldboro store 10 years ago. Today, nothing remains except memories of Louise. Ironically, that Wednesday, when rescuers were bringing victims to Huntsville Hospital, her son Robin was on duty. Shortly before midnight, he received a call. Authorities had found a body meeting his missing mother's description. Like many families, Robin came here to the Spry Funeral Home lobby to await his turn to identify what turned out to be his mother. He said he only waited about 20 minutes, but it seemed like years. Like many families, he said he was scared and feared the worst.
My father had gone enough hours that he knew the information wasn't going to be good, and I think he was probably as prepared as he could be, even though he wasn't.
Robin adds it's a difficult time for all victims. Life will never be the same.
We just saw the plans we had. They're not going to be happening. Christmas is not going to be happening. Just won't be there.
At this time a week ago, a community united. Lives were on the line. Some were saved, some could not be. Homes and businesses were randomly leveled. Lives and livelihoods changed forever. Local mental health officials say these are the feelings that have become commonplace since the tragedy. Survivor guilt, feelings of remorse that we survived while others did not. And the most predominant feeling, the sense that nothing is permanent anymore.
Community-wide, we've had a tragedy, and all of us know someone who's been touched by this, even if we haven't personally been touched. And everybody is going to have some recurrent reactions to this.
Many are using their faith to cope with the tragedy, even while their church buildings are barely left standing. Now that Airport Road is open for motorists, many are getting their first glimpse of the true horror of this scene. Not even a sunny day would help.
They're going to be expecting to see one of their familiar buildings and see a pile of rubble, and it's going to give them a little jolt.
12 days after the killer tornado destroyed Holy Spirit Catholic Church and school, the youngsters finally went back to class in their new storefront building. Amy Whitty takes us there.
Listen, I've got to tell you some rules that are going to be a little different from the other schools, so everyone...
If you didn't know better, today seemed more like the first day of school after a long summer vacation. But instead, these children and teachers are putting back the pieces after the killer tornado destroyed their church and school.
It's a lot better than being in some place that's got no, just two walls for a gym.
I had a set of Nancy Drew books in the classroom. They were my cousins. And then I was afraid they were going to get wet and everything because my cousin gave them to me.
But how are they?
They're fine.
Not only were educators able to salvage many school supplies, but they lucked out in finding school space at the Huntington Shopping Center on South Memorial Parkway. Even luckier to take over space vacated by a daycare center. That meant rooms were already in place.
I'm excited, the children are excited, and this facility is fantastic.
Counselors will be at the school throughout the day talking to kids who lived through the ordeal. They say the best thing these students can do is talk about the devastating tornado.
No more of our church.
And our church is gone.
And talk is what these students did. They talked about their feelings and what happened to their church and school. And as the sign says, although their school is gone, their spirit is not. In Huntsville, Amy Whitty, 31 Eyewitness News.
500 students at Southern Junior College in Huntsville also went back to school today. The tornado destroyed their buildings, so today the college opened up at the Market Square on Memorial Parkway. Construction crews are still busy putting the finishing touches on their rented space at the shopping center.
In my opinion, it's indescribable. There was nothing in this suite, and they literally had to tear down walls in Suite 11 in order to accommodate us.
The business college was able to recover most of its belongings. No decision has been made on a permanent place for the college.
While tornado-damaged schools and businesses move to new locations, several victim assistance centers are heading to other cities. The FEMA Disaster Application Office shut down last night at 6 o'clock. By closing, more than 740 people applied for some form of federal or state disaster aid.
$2 million. That's what a spokesperson for the Huntsville Solid Waste Authority says it may cost to repair an almost complete solid waste incinerator. The tornado destroyed the incinerator's tipping floor. Trucks used the floor to maneuver around after they dumped garbage. But as members of the Solid Waste Authority heard tonight, the damage is mostly superficial. One construction worker was hurt in the incident. Luckily, the twister's high winds destroyed none of the equipment inside the plant.
We can replace a building. If we had to replace a boiler or pumps or air pollution control equipment, the fabrication for that equipment could be 3 or 4 months.
The damage has set back construction by several weeks. A Waste Authority negotiator will work out damage estimates at the Huntsville landfill. The high winds toppled storage sheds and broke windows on some heavy equipment. All told, officials estimate the damage at $45,000. Since much of this wasn't insured, That authority is asking the Federal Emergency Management Agency to supply the money for repairs. This afternoon, the Huntsville school system received an initial payment of $2.5 million from its insurance company. The elementary school was destroyed in the November 15th killer tornado. The total damage estimate is not yet known.
We can move forward with the demolition of the school, and hopefully that night also they will approve my recommendation to hire an architect, and that person can start moving forward with the plans to rebuild the school.
Total destruction of force few buildings could have withstood. That's the way emergency management officials described Jones Valley School demolished by the tornado November 15th. As Adrian Gibson reports, what happened is considered a vivid illustration of why schools should be built extra strong.
I would almost rebuild it where if it hit one end of it might go, but the rest of it might be spared.
These state and local officials today got their first close-up look at the destroyed Jones Valley School. A look in the hallways of the buildings shows mounds of debris, including heavy concrete blocks and steel support beams. Kids in schools are advised to go to hallways for protection against tornadoes, but this building would not have given them that protection.
Well, this is an older school, and the structure of it would not meet the current codes. Schools constructed later than this one was do meet the current codes.
School officials will rebuild Jones Valley School. School System Director of Support Services, Dr. Lee Gradford, says it will be stronger.
I'm certain that when we rebuild this school, that it will contain a lot more safety than what this one had.
Federal and state officials who have investigated this tornado of 2 weeks ago say all that could be done was done to protect the people in this school and other parts of the community. But they say once the school is built back, it will give even more protection than this old one afforded.
The insurance industry says a damage assessment for insured property in Madison County and Morgan County is $135 million. The Insurance Information Institute says the Huntsville area lost $95.4 million in the twister. The remainder of the $135 million was in hail damage in Morgan County.